but my today's topic is about the natural language understanding or speech recognition. Maybe the most kind of like typically today people are talking about speech recognition, but the real thing or the bigger thing is actually natural language processing or natural language understanding, and speech recognition is part of that one, but maybe the speech recognition is more used term today. And what we can do around this kind of like this capability, and how does it make our customer service better, or does it make it better, and what are the potentials there? So a few words about them today. And first maybe I'll just introduce about about the terms that, okay, what is this all about? So it's kind of like, it might be a bit tricky term for some of you, but so the kind of like the big term is natural language processing or natural language understanding, and the meaning of that is that we are able to kind of like understand the computers can understand what people are actually typing or what they are saying in their own kind of like natural way. And then that's what natural language understanding is all about. So it uses computer software to understand input in the form of sentences using text or speech. And as I already mentioned, that maybe the most used or the common way of speaking nowadays about it is that people are talking about speech recognition, but it's part of this kind of like natural language processing and understanding family. And of course, then the text analytics is there, because we definitely always kind of like turn all the spoken language into the text, and then we do the analytics and all the other magic based on that text. And then if we want to talk back to the user via some voice bot, then it's first created text, and then the voice bot is kind of like reading the text. And this happens in real time. That's kind of like the thing what this is all about. And of course, nowadays when we are seeing more and more and companies are onboarding these conversational chatbots, which are kind of like more intelligent chatbots than the previous ones where we're just a person or human being in the other end kind of like typing, and then the customer on the other end typing some answers or whatever, or kind of like questions. Now when we want to have more kind of like intelligent chatbots as well, this natural language understanding, and especially the part of how to understand written language, really kicks in here. So it's based on two things: how to understand the spoken language and how to understand the written language. And what is this then, this natural thing here? I usually address it in a way that none of us speaks kind of like really kind of like correct language, because we have different accents, we are making different kind of like errors when we are speaking or when we are writing. So, and that's just the way how it naturally goes. People are kind of like using different kind of language in their daily life, and we really need to concentrate on understanding that one. And that's kind of like the natural language understanding. It's way easier for the computer to understand kind of like very well recorded, correctly spoken or written data. But when it comes up to the situation that usually a customer is calling us when he's on a bus or in a train or somewhere else, there's a lot of background noise. It's not, the grammar isn't the best possible, and all of this, and still we should be able to understand that one. Then that's where we are concentrating. And let's move on. This is kind of like, yeah. No, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So, but why this natural language understanding then? Well, it's pretty obvious from my point of view, because usually for people, talking is the most natural way to communicate. Pretty much all of us, we rather speak than we write, and then it's also nowadays that this is maybe the last part what we haven't really digitalized yet, because everything else is being digitalized. We've been talking about this digitalization for the last 5 or almost 10 years, but when it comes up to the kind of like spoken language, we haven't been able to digitalize that, or well, maybe it was a little bit incorrect to say that. We can digitalize it, but we haven't done it. done it in that scale what we should. And of course, there has been some missing technologies and capabilities of doing that. But that's why we need it, because people are talking, and it's the most natural way to communicate. Then another kind of like, maybe this is a rumor or something like that, I don't know how to put this, but anyway, I hear this almost daily, that of course we understand that, yeah, this works good on English, or this can be done on German or other big languages, but Finnish is too difficult. We really cannot kind of like have this kind of like capabilities on Finnish, and also here about the kind of like other small languages that, okay, it's too difficult for them, that they are just so difficult to understand, and no one can even learn Finnish, even if you are a native born Finn, that it's impossible for the computers. But Finnish, as well as other languages as well, they are as easy or hard to create a good natural language algorithm to Finnish language than anyone else. And that's just something it goes like that. So, but the biggest problem what we have, for example, with the Finnish language or other small language areas, is usually about the amount of data. So we don't have enough recorded spoken Finnish to actually train the algorithms with. And the problem lies there. And now we are kind of like, we've been generating a lot of that recorded Finnish maybe over the last 5 years. There has been this kind of like almost national campaigns of doing that. For example, I guess Yle was giving a presentation earlier today. They launched this huge campaign that donate your speech, lahjoita puhettasi. So in order to kind of like get more and more of recorded Finnish, so we have this data what we can feed the algorithm with, and then it's able to pick it up and actually learn from it. So the biggest problem is the amount of data, not the language itself. And then usually we are talking about voice bots, and then we are talking about speech to text. These are maybe the two areas where we usually start. And why? Because by understanding natural spoken and written language, well, there definitely is a great potential to create more value via process efficiency, better user experience, and this truly enables the end-to-end automated processes. Because we've been talking so long about this end-to-end automation. But whenever it comes into a situation where someone must speak or talk to someone about something, and if we don't have a capability like this, the process cannot be end-to-end automated, because there is always kind of like human to human, this manual kind of like intervention or manual actions there. And this enables the true end-to-end automated processes. So what's the difference then between voice bots and speech to text, and what is analytics all about here? Well, voice bot, it uses machine learning algorithms to understand as common spoken language and can communicate back to user either by voice or text. And then this speech to text, it's actually the kind of like the technology or process which is kind of like creating the actual text, because as I said earlier, we always kind of like process written language. We never process directly spoken language. So the speech to text functionality is kind of like listening the customer, or for example service desk agent, is actually creating in real time a text-based kind of like documented, okay, this is what was said. And then the analytics part, it will kind of like go through the text, understands what happens there, and then is doing different kind of like suggestions for the voice bot or some background processes, automation or whatever, and then the voice bot speaks back. But definitely these two are kind of like the most used functionalities nowadays, that we want to have voice bot, or then some customers, they only want to have the speech text to start from somewhere. For example, the speech to text functionality, it's, for example, really common use case is that if you are, for example, recording all of your service desk calls or call center calls or whatever, and then you want to understand what happens during those calls, why my NPS looks like this. If you're not able to kind of like understand that by machines, then you need to listen all of those, and it's just too big of a task to carry out. But if you, for example, use this one, you get all of that feed, you get all the calls into text format, and then it's really easy for the computers to do the analytics. What is actually happening during those calls? Why the NPS level is this, etc. Okay, what have we done? I go this really quickly. We started 2017, and first we needed to understand that, okay, because I think we all, or also ourselves had those doubts that, okay, we cannot do this on Finnish, and this is just too hard. We kind of like recognize really the potential that this would be a really nice if we could have a capability like this. Then we engage ourselves with Aalto University here in Finland, and together with them, we developed this our first version of our algorithm, how to understand natural language of Finland, kind of like spoken and written Finnish. Launched our first commercial version late 2019, and also then right after that one, we onboarded our first customer into this capability into their production. So they were the pilot customer, and then we were able to reach the production phase, and then this kind of like the interest has now been kind of like exploding, but that there's a really big interest towards this one. That, okay, we want to have this kind of like capability, and now we are making the algorithm better and better all the time, and onboarding more customers into this process. Okay, and then if we think about these customer interactions, everyone wants to create more value for the customers, and we really need to address these issues that, okay, today's demand is to be able to offer more personalized, faster, and proactive service. Customer interactions must be able to act in between people, data, and machines. Modern customer service must combine technological capabilities into personalized and emphatic user experience. And this natural language understanding, it really fits good into this. It's one of the missing elements what we have had this far, and now it's kind of like resolving a lot of these needs as well. Speech will definitely remain the key communication method in customer interactions later on. There has been also kind of like a lot of talks that speech will be gone, but it will definitely not be gone. Even kind of like 2 years ago, already then 40% out of people said that if they could communicate with the machines by spoken language, or they could talk to the machines, they would rather do it than do the communication with typing or written language. And of course, speaking is at least 3 times more faster than writing. And usually, at least you think that you are able to do something else at the same time while you are kind of like speaking or talking to someone. So definitely this will remain there. And then this natural language understanding capability will definitely kind of like the lowest part will enable this connected customer interactions, because if we start from the kind of like the top line, that's pretty much traditional customer services. We are still seeing those. And then we have kind of like already entered into this assistant customer services area. And now we are talking and actually building these connected customer interactions. A lot of these type of services for our customers, and the NLU is definitely there, that we need to have this capability there. For example, to act as a virtual assistant for the actual agent who is talking to the customer, that okay, the virtual assistant is helping the agent because he or she is kind of like listening, the voice bot is listening the conversation all the time, and kind of like helping the customer, the service desk agent to address the customer's issues. In Finland, 20% has already tried, even conversational chatbots or this voice bot. 68% finds it really interesting. So the market is definitely there. And it's around 6 weeks nowadays how our process works, that 6 weeks to get this voice bot up and running, and then you are already kind of like seeing the benefits and know what you should do. We have demo here where you can see how this actually works in real life. And of course, we have our virtual stand. So please go and check out those because then you probably understand it better. This is a bit technical for probably part of the audience, but hopefully you kind of like got the point that this is really kind of like great opportunity to improve your customer service via this natural language understanding. Thank you.